I think it's time that we check in with our neighbors to the north. Now, the new Democrat Party of Canada actually got together, I don't know, a week ago or something, and I'm sure they talked about very important things. And now that they've discussed and had this conference, I bet all of Canada's problems have been figured out. So anyway, let's listen in and see what happened.
Prime Minister Carney is cutting $7 billion between Indigenous Services Canada and Crown Indigenous Relations. They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIW G2S LGBTQIA+. This is a
What? Hold on. What?
Side of MMIW G2S LGBTQIA+. This
MMIGLAZYCOMMIE, is that what she said? What she actually said there was MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA+. And if you are a normal person and don't know what that means, it means missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, asexual, plus. And basically what I get from that is if you are non-binary, then they don't care if you're murdered. Look at that. They only care if Indigenous women and girls are murdered. Also, they're very binary with their spirits. I personally consider, well, I'm a non-binary spirit, okay? I don't believe in just the one spirit and the two spirit. I'm non-binary spirit. I'm an NBS. I'm a non-BS. Hey, as you've probably noticed, this is a very small YouTube channel, so I would greatly appreciate it if you liked, subscribed, comment, all that other good stuff. Let's get back to the video.
There's a point of privilege on microphone 1, then we'll go to microphone 3. Go ahead, delegate.
Yes, hello. I was standing here with my gender equity card before you called on the previous.
Guys, they have actual cards. I always thought that pulling out the race card or the gender card or whatever was kind of a figure of speech, right? But these guys took it to a very literal level, and they actually have cards. Look, they have green cards, purple cards, yellow cards, orange cards. They have all the cards.
Speaker. That's my point of privilege that I would like to raise.
I will explain the speaking order, which is fixed, that I cannot amend, which is the pro-con rotation. You can move yourself up a line that you're standing in.
I am pro, and I was...
We went...
You went pro, con,
We went pro, and my plan was to go con. The speaker at con mic 3 also has a speaking card.
Yesterday, this card was used in an inappropriate manner. And while I understand in Ontario we note this as equity, even if this was also used inappropriately in terms of gender. I want everyone to be mindful that these cards for individuals like myself who identify as a Black woman have no value outside of this space.
Well, that's very true. Nobody gives a shit about your card outside of that convention.
It's a point of...
Go ahead.
It's got point of privilege. The microphones seem really low today. It's hard to hear everyone at the mic. Between the background noise and the volume in here with the microphones, it's really hard to hear. And the closed captioning also is slower to make it hard to keep up with what's going on.
Thank you, delegate. I have a hearing impairment, and I'm struggling to hear the delegates, and I know that you are too.
Hold on. She has a hearing impairment? Let's be honest here. I think she could probably hear a fly fart and a tornado.
Let's have some order. We'll hear from the delegate on microphone 1, please.
I did want to bring attention to the fact that
Got to see ghosts.
The gender parity cards.
Let's take the microphone to that delegate. We'll hear from them right now.
Thank you, Joe Stella. She, her.
My pronouns are she, her, elle, and en français. It's going to be really hard to follow Rob Ashton. Amazing speaker. We are a working class party. I think most of...
Look at all those cards. Man, she's playing Pokemon over here trying to collect them all.
us in this room are behind that, and while we can debate on the specific words and who is and isn't included,
I think our Constitution needs to recognize that, and I also recognize I'm sorry, I'm speaking way too fast. Let me slow down for the closed captioning. I'm so sorry, I get excited.
It's a point of privilege. The closed captions for this convention are running between 6 and 10
Again with the closed captions. What's up with these people?
seconds behind. So it's just a request for the chairpersons to be aware. And when you move to a vote, I'm still reading the debate. So if we could just take a little pause, that would be appreciated.
Okay.
Yes, bonjour, hi. My name is Parker Tian. I'm representing Vancouver Quadra. Just to reply my Franco comrades' point of privilege earlier, as you can see, I do have one of the translating device. However, I'd like to raise this to the chair's concern that the sign-out process for this device is not necessarily the best because it requires you to fill the form and give a piece of your ID, and most people don't even know where to get it, which is behind the registration table. And also, like, they don't have enough pens when we're there, so there was a very long line up. Also, for the device itself, because it's using infrared technology, you have to...
Look, guys, if I was the owner of a company, I would just fire everybody that has their pronouns in their bio. Unfortunately, that's probably illegal, but that's what I would want to do. And you want to catch all the crazies, but you'd catch a good portion of them. And the reason I would do that is not necessarily because they are, transgender or whatever, but I would want to fire them all because they aren't just a net zero on productivity. They're actually a net negative on productivity. These people complain so much about the dumbest stuff possible. There's not enough pens. The closed captioning is behind. This guy's complaining about filling out a form or something. I don't know. But anyway, they would take a meeting that would normally take like an hour, and they would make it take 2 hours because of their constant complaining and their narcissism. They would take a project that should take a month, and they'd make it take a month and 3 weeks because they're constantly complaining and talking about themselves. Just a bunch of narcissists, and it's just so annoying that they have to talk about themselves constantly like they're the most important thing around. Look, dude, everybody has problems, okay? You just got to deal with it. And I think that this is a product of our own success. We as a society have become so successful and so comfortable that instead of worrying about normal things that civilization has been worrying about forever, like being able to eat, we are instead worrying about our pronouns and having enough pens and the closed captions and the mics being too low and the stupid cards and the intersectionality and all that crap. And the only reason we can care about that crap is because Western civilization has given these people such a great life that they can sit around and complain about all this stuff and complain about Western civilization and advocate for communism and socialism and basically everything that would take away all these good things that they've been blessed with.
There is a point. Let's hear the point on microphone 1.
I'm sorry, just real quick, point of personal privilege. I understand there's very little time and for delegates to speak.
There's very little time, so I'm sure that he is not going to waste any time on something stupid.
But early on the mic, it's hard as a racialized and transgender delegate to sometimes use this card and speak up, speak to somebody in front of me in line and ask, hey, this pertains to multiple intersecting parts of my lived experience. I'd like to speak. I was rejected when I talked. And it's frustrating when these are my rights being directly under attack right now in Alberta, and that a cisgender woman had spoken over me. And I understand her rights are important too. This pertains to her too, but I don't know. I hope that in the future the federal NDP will also have a broader.
So I just want to stop right there and talk a little bit about rights. And if you want to skip this part, there's a timestamp down below. Go ahead and skip it. But anyway, so In the United States, we have something that I like to call collective individual rights. And what that means is, as a country, collectively, we have certain rights that are found in the Constitution. The right to bear arms, the right to freedom of speech, the right to peaceably assemble, so on and so forth. So those are our collective rights as a country, but they are also individual rights, meaning that they have to be applied to everybody on an individual level. You can't just take away somebody's right because you want to take it away, or you can't just give a certain individual more rights because you feel like they should have more rights. But these people, they have that completely backward. They feel like they deserve their own special rights, really because they're just a bunch of narcissists. But they feel like they need these special rights just for themselves because of their lived experience, like this guy was saying. And you can't run a country like that. You just simply can't, because if everybody has different rights, then you have to make a hierarchy of rights. And this is basically what they're doing with these cards. They're making a hierarchy. So if you have more cards than the other person, that means that you have more lived experience, and that means you have more rights than that person. But the problem is that you would have to have a perfect understanding of everybody's rights around you, your rights, your personal rights, and everybody else's personal individual rights. And obviously you can't keep all that information on you at the same time. So it inevitably devolves into what is happening here, which is them just basically spending all their time fighting about who gets to talk first and whose rights are above whoever else's rights. Anyway, you just can't run a society like this.
Interpretation of the equity cards for speakers. That's all. Thank you.
I will invite delegates to assist me in better using the card by forming a straight
Shouldn't have said that.
line
Straight's a
behind
bad
the
word.
microphone. With a prominently displayed equity card, if I see speakers ahead of you who are not holding a card prominently, it would be wrong of me to guess about their gender identity, and I will come to you. I'm directed to a point on microphone 3.
Point of information, I'm not sure if it's appropriate for me to bring a point of privilege around an emergent issue with some job loss in my workplace.
If it is impairing your ability to participate in the meeting, it is a correct point of privilege. If you'd like an announcement to be made from the stage, we can arrange for that, and then the delegates can hear it from here. Not right now.
So, okay, bring it to you.
Bring it to me.
Thank you.
We'll find a way.
Do they get anything done?
Good? Okay.
I don't think they get anything done around here. Okay, guys, I've got one more video for you. One more. And, think we can suffer through this together? I hope so. Let's give it a try, huh?
Hi, I'm Adrienne Smith. I'm a Vancouver lawyer and a QB member. I'm here to talk to you about why it's important to use appropriate pronouns for transgender people. But before we get that far, what do all these terms mean? A transgender person is someone whose gender identity doesn't necessarily line up with the sex that they were assigned at birth. For example, when a baby is born and the doctor says, "It's a boy!" we all expect that little boy to grow up to be a man. But that's not actually true for most trans people. Some trans people are assigned male at birth, but identify as women when they grow up. Some trans people are assigned female at birth, but identify as men when they grow up. There are some other trans people who don't agree with the gender binary and don't identify as masculine or feminine. Those folks, like me, are called non-binary or gender non-conforming. So what about pronouns? A pronoun...
Guys, when I was in kindergarten, we watched a video about the importance of sharing and being friends. And this video reminds me a lot of that video. Just the condescending nature, her pretending like she's better than everybody because she knows something that other people don't know, the awful haircut. It's so condescending, right? I mean, how can anybody take these people seriously? I've decided I can't take any more of this. We're going to just stop the video there because I don't care. And I've put myself through enough pain today for your guys' entertainment. So, yeah. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment, give me motivation to continue watching this. And hopefully we've had a good time. Hopefully we've been able to laugh at these people, because what else are you going to do? Thanks, guys.